Today, we deconstruct the full field gear of an Imperial Japanese Army infantryman circa 1944. The Arisaka Type 99, a robust, all-action rifle featuring a chrome-lined bore and unique anti-aircraft sights. Stamped with the Imperial chrysanthemum, it was the primary long arm of the Emperor's infantry. The Type 30 bayonet, with a 40-centimeter blade, it transformed the Arisaka into a formidable spear. Essential for the IJA's aggressive close-quarters doctrine. Front are munition pouches. To rigid leather cases, each holding 30 rounds in 5-round clips, positioned for rapid access during a firefight. The rear pouch, a larger leather case carried on the back of the belt, containing 60 additional rounds and a small metal oiler for rifle maintenance. The Type 97 was the standard fragmentation grenade. To prime it, the soldier pulled the pin and struck the fuse cap against a hard surface off his own helmet before throwing. It was a simple, effective, but dangerous design. The Type 100 was a lightweight, portable mortar. This allowed infantry squads to throw specialized grenades and smoke shells through cover, providing important mobile fire support. The Type 90 helmet, made of thin chromolybdenum steel, provided protection against shrapnel. Its iconic cherry blossom shape and the small brass Imperial Army star on the front became a symbol of the Japanese Empire's reach. This hand-woven hemp net was essential for the jungle. It broke up the smooth, reflective surface of the steel helmet and allowed the soldier to weave in grass and branches for perfect concealment. The soft wool-field cap, or Boshi, was the most common headgear. Featuring a short brim and a yellow star, it was worn under the helmet or during daily fatigue duties in the camp. The Type 98 tunic was the standardized uniform of the IJA, introduced in 1938. It moved the rank insignia from the shoulders to the collar to make the soldier less visible to snipers. Type 98 trousers were designed for utility. Cut wide at the hips for movement and tapered at the ankles, they were specifically tailored to be worn with puttees or high boots. Wool puttees were a hallmark of the Japanese infantryman, wrapped tightly from the ankle to the knee. They supported the muscles during long marches and prevented leeches from reaching the skin. Standard field boots were made of thick pigskin or cowhide. The soles were reinforced with heavy iron hobnails and a heel plate, providing traction on the slippery, muddy slopes of the Pacific Islands. For stealth and grip in the jungle, many soldiers preferred the jikatabi. These split-toe rubber-soled shoes allowed for a silent, cat-like movement that became the dread of allied sentries at night. The infantry belt was the foundation of the soldier's load, made of oiled leather with a simple brass buckle. It held the ammo pouches, the bayonet, and the canteen in place through years of combat. The Type 90 for aluminum canteen was vital for survival, carried in a canvas harness with a shoulder strap. It held 1 liter of water, a precious resource in the humid heat of Southeast Asia. The haversack was a simple cotton bag for daily essentials. Inside, a soldier kept his rations, extra ammunition, and small personal comforts, making it his most used piece of luggage. The canvas knapsack carried the soldier's heavier gear. Rigid and rectangular, it was designed to sit high on the back, allowing the belt equipment to remain accessible during long treks. Though chemical weapons were rarely used in the Pacific, every soldier carried the Type 95 gas mask. The rubber, facepiece and filter were kept in a specialized canvas satchel, always ready. The entrenching tool was a weapon of survival. With this short-handled shovel, Japanese soldiers dug the complex, multi-level bunker systems that made islands like Iwo Jima so difficult to capture. The shelter half was a versatile piece of canvas. It could be worn as a poncho during tropical downpours or combined with a comrade's sheet to form a two-man tent in the field. The Sen-Nin-Bari was a spiritual shield. Hand-stitched by 1,000 women, these red-threaded belts were believed to protect the wearer from harm, serving as a physical link to the families left behind. The Yosegoki Hinomaru was a national flag signed by friends and family with prayers and slogans of victory. It was often carried under the tunic, close to the heart, as a final comfort. The aluminum, mess tin, and a pair of simple wooden chopsticks were the soldier's lifeline. Rice, often the only ration, was boiled in this kidney-shaped pot over a small fire. The Type 99 magnetic mine was a desperate anti-tank weapon. Featuring magnets along its edge, a soldier would run up to an Allied tank and slap the turtle mine onto its hull before diving for cover. This rectangular metal flashlight featured colored lenses for signaling. It was a vital tool for navigators and NCOs moving through the pitch-black tunnel networks of the Pacific Islands. Every soldier carried a Hankoa personal name stamp. In a culture that prioritized official seals over signatures, it was used for everything from receiving pay to marking his own equipment. The comfort bag was a gift from the home front, filled with soap, toothbrushes, and dried sweets. These bags were a rare source of morale for soldiers enduring the hardships of the front lines. Sen-Nin-Bari armor, these simple steel plates, covered in fabric, were designed to protect the torso from shrapnel, a rare but forward-thinking attempt at personal protection. The Nambu Type 14, chambered in 8 mm, was the standard sidearm for officers and NCOs. Heavily inspired by European designs, its distinctive large trigger guard was specifically modified for use with thick winter gloves, reflecting Japan's campaigns in colder northern territories. The teeth of the Arisaka, the 7.7 mm rimless cartridges. These were issued in 5-round brass stripper clips designed to be pressed quickly into the rifle's internal magazine. Every clip was a soldier's lifeline, kept dry and clean inside the rigid leather pouches. From the Sen-Nin-Bari against his skin to the loaded Arisaka in his hands, the Japanese soldier was a product of a culture that prioritized duty over life. Fully equipped, with his Nambu sidearm and ammo pouches full, he was a silent, lethal force in the Pacific landscape. This is the completed archive of the Imperial Japanese Army. This is Archival Kit. Subscribe for more.